that's thinking about making this kind of investment in her school, really working over the course of an entire year, really making this long year commitment of growth in her school, because it wasn't just one thing that we worked on. We worked a lot on, just strategic partnerships between teachers, partnerships between parents. I mean, teachers had huge breakthroughs when it came to relationships with parents and connecting better. We did a lot of sensory training and helping teachers understand the dynamic of following directions, how to work with kids with sensory and impulsive behavior, classroom setup, transitions. We did a lot. What would you tell a director who's kind of thinking about this, and what were some of your hesitations when you originally thought about, jumping in on this program?
So I think one of my hesitations was, and because of our specific situation, I didn't have a ton of hesitations because I was looking for someone that could help partner in this year. But I do think that one hesitation that came up, is timing and is how to make it work. And Hani could tell you that we have a big school. And so the first time she came, I had made a schedule.
How many classes are you?
We have 9 classes in the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And the first time she visited, I had made a schedule, and Hani would have needed, 5 legs and 10 grades. We quickly realized this was not a realistic schedule because it was too much running and not enough time. You can't just spend 5 minutes in a room. You need to be able to really observe. So I think some of it was, how do we just work this into what we do? And I don't know if that's a hesitation, but it's a challenge. It's definitely overcomable, but it's certainly a challenge. And, again, and sometimes, as I'm sure other early childhood directors know, every day there's something, whether we're celebrating a Jewish holiday or, Fridays we celebrate Shabbat in our school, or whether it's truck day or pajama day or a myriad of things going on, picture day. And so there's a lot of days that weren't good for us to have Hani come. So, sometimes scheduling was a little bit of a challenge, although it always worked out.
Yeah.
To me, I think the biggest benefit was that, especially for me, who was kind of new in this role, was that I was able to have someone else who had a real knowledge of Jewish early childhood education, who could come in. Especially, there were numerous times this year where there was maybe an issue either with a student or with a teacher. And I would let Hani know before her visit and say, listen, when you're here, I want you to also make sure you kind of spend a little time observing X and Y or whatever it was. And it was really helpful to be able to get that additional set of feedback, because it's sometimes hard to make all the decisions or know that you're making the right calls. And sometimes I wasn't sure what the right call was. And so there were many times I feel like when Hani came, when in addition to her plan of what she had on her agenda, I would say, while you're here, can you make sure you get into this room and check out this or that? And to me, that was a huge plus. Again, I mentioned before, but that support, and not just support for me, but just support for our school, because when there was an issue, now you had, 2 heads, more than 2, because the teachers obviously gave their feedback as well. But a really great amount of feedback. And it was really great to have someone who in some ways, as I said at the beginning, didn't bring baggages from the outside, but over the year, Hani got to know everyone. So
yes, I did.
So granted, it's in some ways still Hani kind of comes from the outside. Yeah. But at a certain point, when Hani came for her most recent visit, I think 2 weeks ago, there was one situation we had her watch, and she said, well, I know going into it, there's this personality and that personality, because she got to know our staff and form relationships with them. And that was really helpful to have, again, another voice. Because change is hard. And the truth is, it makes it easier to make change when you have someone that's supporting you and someone that's offering you helpful feedback for how to go about it and things like that.
So